Millions are in the path of what could be the most devastating winter storm in over a decade. Crippling ice, historic snowfall, and behind it all, a brutal Arctic blast that will send temperatures plummeting 30 to 40 degrees below average. This is not a drill. The models are screaming at us. Every single forecast system, from the European model to the American GFS, shows the same terrifying picture. A massive winter storm system is taking shape right now over the Pacific Ocean, and it is headed straight for the central and eastern United States. What makes this different from your typical winter weather? Let me show you exactly why meteorologists across the country are losing sleep over this one. Right now, the Weather Prediction Center has issued probabilities that should make everyone sit up and pay attention. We are looking at a 50 to 70% chance of major winter storm impacts cutting right through the heart of Oklahoma by this Saturday. But here is where it gets truly alarming. By Sunday, that threat zone explodes. From New Mexico all the way to the southern tip of New Jersey, millions of Americans will be facing dangerous conditions. And in the bullseye, North Carolina and Southern Virginia. Raleigh, Greensboro, Asheville, Statesville, and extending up through much of southern Virginia now have a 70 to 90% chance of a major winter storm this weekend. Let me repeat that. 70 to 90%. Those are odds you cannot ignore. But wait, because what I am about to show you at the 3-minute 20 mark will reveal the true nightmare scenario that keeps intensifying with every new model run. First, let me explain the setup. This is not a simple winter storm. We have two massive pieces of energy that are about to collide over the United States. Think of it like two freight trains speeding toward each other on the same track. The northern stream is bringing record-breaking cold air, some of the coldest air on planet Earth right now. Not just cold for America, not just cold for North America, the coldest air on the entire planet diving down from the Arctic. At the exact same time, a southern stream system is pulling moisture up from the Pacific and will ride across the southern states. When moisture meets record-breaking cold, you get a recipe for disaster: ice, snow, and dangerous life-threatening conditions. Here is what makes this storm particularly dangerous. Much of the energy that will fuel this system is still out over the Pacific Ocean as I speak. You might be wondering, why should you care about weather systems thousands of miles away? Two critical reasons. One, this means you still have time to prepare. Do not waste it. Two, once this system moves over land where we can launch weather balloons and gather better data, we will know more precise details about timing and impacts. But here is what we know for certain right now. The ingredients are lining up perfectly. By tomorrow and into Thursday, we are going to see a massive lobe of the polar vortex, that dark blue, menacing mass of Arctic air plunging down from Canada. At the same time, low pressure developing over Baja California will streak across the southern tier of the United States. Watch how this unfolds. These two systems will phase together over the Four Corners region. They will merge into one powerful storm and then march across the country, gathering strength as they go. This is textbook setup for a historic winter event. Now here is your first reward for watching. Let me tell you about the latest European model run that just came in. The European model has been remarkably consistent, and consistency this far out is actually terrifying for forecasters. It means the atmosphere is locked into a pattern. The model shows the storm taking hold by Friday. Then it cranks up intensity as it moves east through Saturday and Sunday, slamming into the Carolinas and the mid-Atlantic. By early next week, it could be racing up the eastern seaboard as what we call a Miller A system, potentially lingering all the way into Tuesday. This is a multi-day event, not a quick-hitting snowstorm that blows through overnight. We are talking about days of dangerous conditions, followed by potentially weeks of impacts from power outages, impassable roads, and infrastructure damage. The GFS model tells a similar story, and when the European and American models agree this far in advance, you need to pay attention. Let me walk you through the timing, but remember, exact snowfall amounts and precipitation types will shift. The line between snow, sleet, and freezing rain is razor thin, especially for major cities. What I am showing you are the broad strokes, the big picture. Wednesday starts relatively quiet, just some snow showers moving through parts of the country with rain down south. Then Friday afternoon arrives, and the situation deteriorates rapidly. A record-breaking high-pressure system will be funneling Arctic air southward. This high pressure will be so massive, so intense, that it will create a wall of frigid air across the central United States. Meanwhile, that southern stream energy is racing across Texas and Louisiana, meeting up with the northern energy. The collision happens right over Arkansas and Oklahoma Friday night into Saturday morning. This is when things go from bad to catastrophic. By Saturday afternoon, we are looking at heavy snow from Oklahoma City north and east. But here is where it gets complicated and dangerous. South of that snow, we have a setup for potentially crippling ice. I am talking about ice accumulations that could snap power lines, bring down trees, and shut down entire cities for days. The storm then shifts east Saturday night into Sunday. Virginia, North Carolina, parts of Tennessee and Kentucky could see significant snowfall. How much? Some models are showing a foot or more for parts of Virginia. The European ensemble system gives Virginia an 80% chance of seeing at least 4 inches of snow, but somebody in Virginia is going to wake up to a foot of snow or more. I would bet on it with the data I am seeing. Sunday into Monday, the storm reaches the mid-Atlantic and potentially the Northeast. The Delmarva Peninsula, the Chesapeake Bay region, southern New Jersey, maybe even Long Island could see substantial snowfall. This is still days away, so exact track will determine who gets hit hardest, but the threat is very real. Now let me tell you about the ice situation, because this might actually be the worst part of the entire event. This is what I promised you at the 3-minute mark. The ice forecast is absolutely bonkers. Look at the probabilities. Dallas and Fort Worth, high probability for significant icing. The Texarkana region stretching into Arkansas and Louisiana, same thing. Northern Mississippi, northern and central Texas, all in the danger zone. But the bullseye for potentially catastrophic ice appears to be South Carolina, extending into parts of North Carolina and Georgia, Columbia, South Carolina. You need to be preparing right now. The models are showing ice accumulations that could be measured in inches, not fractions of an inch. When you start talking about half an inch of ice or more, you are talking about widespread, prolonged power outages. Trees cannot handle that kind of ice load. Power infrastructure cannot handle it. Roads become skating rinks. The blended model forecast, which averages all our different computer models together, is already showing at least half an inch of ice across northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, parts of East Texas, and the Carolinas. That is the average. Some individual model runs show an inch to an inch and a half of ice. The most aggressive solutions show nearly 2 inches of ice in parts of South Carolina. 2 inches of ice is apocalyptic. It would paralyze the region for days, possibly weeks. This is not me being dramatic. This is me reading the data and understanding what these numbers mean in the real world. And I have not even told you about the Arctic outbreak yet. This is the part that has me genuinely concerned for public safety. Behind this storm, some of the coldest air on Earth is going to settle over the United States. We are talking about temperature anomalies of 30 to 40 degrees below average. Already, parts of the country are cold right now. This is late January, peak winter for millions of Americans. Now subtract another 40 degrees from those temperatures. By Saturday morning, the Midwest could be 40 degrees below average. That kind of cold is brutal. It is dangerous. It can be deadly, especially for anyone without adequate shelter or heating. By Monday and Tuesday of next week, even after much of the snow and ice has fallen, the Arctic air stays locked in place. The ensemble forecasts show this cold persisting for the next 15 days. Let that sink in. 2 weeks of below-average temperatures, potentially record-breaking cold in many locations. Now imagine this scenario. Millions lose power because of ice accumulation. Trees are down across roads. Nobody can travel. Emergency services are overwhelmed. And then you add sub-freezing temperatures for days on end. That combination becomes life-threatening very quickly. This is why I am telling you to prepare now, not tomorrow, not this weekend. Right now, today. Here is your action plan. Go get your prescriptions refilled today. If you take daily medications, do not wait until Friday when pharmacy lines will be out the door. Stock up on at least 1 week of non-perishable food and water. Think about foods that do not require cooking in case you lose power. Canned goods, protein bars, dried fruit, nuts, peanut butter, crackers. Check your flashlights and batteries. Do you have a battery-powered or hand-crank radio? You will need a way to get information if the power goes out. Charge all your devices and consider getting portable battery packs charged up. Do you have a way to stay warm without electricity? Blankets, sleeping bags, warm clothing layers? If you have a fireplace, make sure you have firewood. If you use a generator, make sure it is in working order and you have fuel, but never run a generator indoors. Carbon monoxide kills silently. Think about your elderly neighbors. Do they have what they need? Can they get to safety if needed? Check on your loved ones. Make a plan for communication if cell towers go down or get overwhelmed. Do you have pets? Make sure you can keep them inside and warm. Have extra food and water for them too. Animals suffer in extreme cold just like humans do. Here is something people do not always think about. Cash. If power goes out, ATMs will not work and stores that remain open may not be able to process cards. Have some cash on hand. Fill up your gas tank before the storm hits. If you need to evacuate or seek shelter elsewhere, you do not want to be stuck at a gas station that has no power. Plus, sitting in a running car with heat might be your only warm option if you lose power at home. Clear out your refrigerator of items that will spoil quickly. In a prolonged power outage, your fridge becomes useless. Do not stock up on fresh food that will go bad in 2 days. If you have a medical condition that requires power for equipment like oxygen concentrators or CPAP machines, contact your power company now about getting on their priority restoration list. Also have a backup plan. Know where the nearest hospital or medical facility with generator power is located. For those of you who live alone or have mobility issues, consider staying with family or friends for the duration of the storm. This is not the time for stubbornness. This is the time for smart decisions. Document your property before the storm. Take photos of your home, your vehicles, anything valuable. If you suffer damage, you will need this for insurance claims. Bring outdoor furniture inside. Secure anything that could become a projectile in high winds. Yes, many winter storms also bring wind, which makes everything worse. Know where your main water shutoff valve is located. If pipes burst from freezing, you need to be able to shut off the water quickly. Fill your bathtub with water before the storm. Even if you lose power, you will have water for flushing toilets. It is not drinking water, but it is incredibly useful. Stock up on baby supplies if you have infants. Diapers, formula, wipes. These are not items you can improvise easily. If you rely on well water, remember that electric pumps will not work without power. Fill containers with drinking water now. Think about entertainment that does not require electricity. Books, board games, cards. Being stuck inside for days with nothing to do can drive you crazy, especially with kids. Make sure smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors have fresh batteries. When people start using alternative heating methods, the risk of fire and CO poisoning increases dramatically. Have a first aid kit readily accessible and stocked. Bandages, antiseptic, pain relievers, any prescription ointments or creams. If you live in an area prone to power outages, consider getting a cooler and bags of ice before the storm. You can use it to save medications that need refrigeration or preserve some perishable food items. For those of you in rural areas, if you heat with propane or oil, make sure your tanks are full. Getting deliveries during or after a major storm is going to be difficult, if not impossible. Print out important documents. Emergency contact numbers, insurance information, medical records. If your phone dies and you need this information, you are out of luck unless you have paper copies. Tell someone outside your immediate area your plans. A friend or relative in another state who can serve as a central contact point if local communication becomes difficult. If you are thinking this all sounds excessive, consider this. This could be very similar to what happened in Texas in February 2021. Millions without power for days in below freezing temperatures. People died. Infrastructure failed catastrophically. That storm caught people off guard. This one, you are getting advanced warning. Use it. Now, I want to be clear about something. I could be wrong. Forecasts can change. By Friday or Saturday, maybe the storm tracks differently, or the ice stays further south, or snow totals come down. Maybe the whole thing falls apart. I genuinely hope that happens. I hope I am sitting here this weekend telling you I overreacted and got it wrong. But right now, today, with the information available, with multiple computer models showing similar solutions, with the Weather Prediction Center issuing high probability forecasts for major impacts, I feel comfortable sounding the alarm. It is my job to give you the information you need to make smart decisions. The worst case scenario is you prepare for nothing. You have extra food, extra water, full gas tank, and nothing happens. That is not a bad day. You avoided disaster and you have supplies for the next emergency. The alternative is waiting until the last minute, hoping for the best, and then getting caught unprepared when the worst happens. I would rather you be mad at me for being wrong than unprepared when I am right. Let me give you the updates schedule. I will be back this afternoon with new model data. Every computer model runs multiple times per day, and we will be tracking every single run between now and when this storm hits. I will also be going live every night this week at 8 p.m. Eastern to answer your questions and break down the latest information, what you need to watch for in the coming days. First, watch for winter storm watches to be issued. Those will likely come Thursday or Friday for the areas in the main impact zone. Watches mean conditions are possible. When those upgrade to warnings, conditions are expected and imminent. Second, pay attention to ice storm warnings. These are issued when ice accumulation is expected to cause significant impacts. If your area gets an ice storm warning, that is your signal to complete all preparations immediately. Third, watch the temperature forecast for your area. The difference between 28 degrees and 34 degrees determines whether you get snow, ice, or rain. That is how fine the line is. Fourth, if you are in the potential impact zone and you have flexibility with your schedule, cancel travel plans now. Do not wait until Friday to make that decision. Airlines will be canceling flights. Roads will be dangerous. It is not worth the risk. For those of you further north who might escape the worst of the snow and ice, do not think you are in the clear. That Arctic air is coming for everyone. Temperatures 30 to 40 degrees below average affect the entire eastern half of the country. Even if you do not see a single snowflake, you need to prepare for dangerous cold. Frostbite can occur in minutes when you combine low temperatures with wind chill. Hypothermia can set in faster than you think. If you must go outside during the height of the cold, dress in layers, cover all exposed skin, limit your time outdoors, check on vehicles, make sure antifreeze levels are adequate, make sure your battery is in good condition. Cold weather is brutal on car batteries. Carry an emergency kit in your vehicle with blankets, snacks, water, flashlight, and phone charger. For farmers and ranchers, make sure livestock have access to shelter and unfrozen water. This kind of cold can be devastating to animals. Keep storm drains near your property clear. Ice and snowmelt has to go somewhere, and blocked drains can lead to flooding issues. If you lose power and it has been out for more than 4 hours, start moving perishable food to coolers with ice or outside if it is cold enough. However, do not put food directly in snow. Use sealed containers. Never use a gas stove or oven to heat your home. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a real danger and you cannot smell it or see it until it is too late. If you must use candles for light, never leave them unattended. Keep them away from anything flammable. Battery-powered LED candles are a much safer option. Space heaters should be kept at least 3 feet away from anything that can burn. Never leave them running when you sleep or leave a room. Make sure they are on a flat, stable surface where they cannot tip over. If pipes freeze, do not try to thaw them with open flames. Use a hairdryer or heat lamp instead, and know where your water shutoff is in case a pipe bursts. For those in apartments or multi-unit buildings, communicate with your building management. Ask about their emergency plans. Make sure hallways and emergency exits are clear. This is a situation that requires community cooperation. Help each other. Share resources if you have extras. Check on neighbors who might be vulnerable. We get through disasters by working together, not by hoarding and panicking. And please, please stay off the roads if you do not absolutely need to be out there. Every winter storm, we see the same thing. People think they can handle the conditions, and then emergency responders have to risk their lives rescuing them. Do not be that person. Here is what is coming in the next 72 hours. More model runs, more data, more refined forecasts. By Thursday, we should have a much clearer picture of exact timing and amounts. By Friday morning, you should know with high confidence whether your area is in the danger zone. But do not wait for perfect information. Act on what we know now. The threat is real. The probabilities are high. The potential impacts are severe. Start preparing today. Remember, the southern ice threat looks particularly dangerous right now. If you live anywhere from Texas through Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and especially the Carolinas, ice is your primary concern. Ice storms are slower-moving disasters, but they can be absolutely devastating. For the Tennessee Valley, you are in a tricky zone where it could go either way, snow, ice, or a mix. Stay tuned to local forecasts. Oklahoma, you are looking at significant snow potential. Oklahoma City could see substantial accumulation. Virginia, especially central and southern Virginia, this could be your biggest snow event in years. Take it seriously. The Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, your window opens up Sunday into Monday. A lot can still change with track and intensity by the time the storm reaches you, but the potential is there for significant impacts. Behind all of this, everyone from the Rockies to the Atlantic coast will feel that Arctic blast. This is not just a southern storm or a northeastern snow event. This is a nationwide weather emergency in the making. I want to end with this. Disasters happen. Winter storms are a fact of life. What separates those who weather them safely from those who suffer is preparation. You have time. You have warning. You have information. Use all three wisely. Stay tuned for updates. Share this information with anyone who might be in the impact zone. And remember, it is always better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. Your life and the lives of your loved ones could depend on the decisions you make right now. The models are converging. The pattern is locked in. The storm is coming. Are you ready? Let me give you some specific numbers that really drive home the severity of what we are looking at. The European Ensemble system, which runs 51 different variations of the forecast, shows remarkable agreement. When Ensemble members agree, forecasters pay attention. Right now, 80% of Ensemble members show at least 4 inches of snow for Oklahoma City. That is not one rogue model. That is overwhelming consensus. Virginia Beach to Richmond to Charlottesville, the Ensemble spread shows anywhere from 6 inches to over a foot of snow. The mean, the average of all those runs, sits around 8 to 10 inches for much of central Virginia. Again, these are not wild outliers. This is the central tendency of the forecast. But here is what really concerns me. The ice accumulation forecasts keep trending higher with each new model run. The overnight model runs came in even more aggressive with ice totals. Some areas that were forecast for a quarter inch of ice are now showing forecasts for half an inch or more. This trend, this steady increase in severity, is not what you want to see. Let me talk about what different ice accumulations actually mean on the ground, because I think many people do not fully grasp the impacts. 1/10 of an inch of ice starts to make roads slippery. It makes walking dangerous. Tree branches start to collect ice. At a quarter inch, you are looking at significant travel disruptions. Power outages become possible as smaller branches start breaking. This is where things shift from inconvenience to danger. At half an inch of ice, we are talking about major infrastructure impacts. Power lines start coming down. Large tree branches break and fall. Roads become completely impassable without treatment, and even then, it is treacherous. Emergency services have difficulty responding. At 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch, you are looking at catastrophic damage. Widespread power outages that last for days or weeks. Trees split apart. Utility poles snap. The entire power grid for a region can fail. And we have models showing 1 to 2 inches of ice for parts of the Carolinas. I want you to understand what that means. That kind of ice accumulation destroys infrastructure. It does not damage it. It destroys it. Power companies cannot repair lines fast enough when you have that kind of widespread devastation, especially when crews cannot safely get to the damage because roads are impassable. Now add the Arctic air on top of that scenario. People without power, without heat, in temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below freezing for days. This becomes a genuine humanitarian crisis very quickly. Let me walk through some historical context so you understand why I keep using words like historic and catastrophic. In January of 1994, the Southeast experienced a major ice storm. Parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee saw ice accumulations over 1 inch. 2 million people lost power. Some were without electricity for 2 weeks. 9 people died directly from the storm, and dozens more from related causes like hypothermia and carbon monoxide poisoning from improper heating methods. In December of 2005, another significant ice storm hit the southern plains and Midwest. Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas all saw major impacts. Ice accumulations exceeded 2 inches in some locations. Over 500,000 people lost power. It took utility companies weeks to fully restore service. The economic impact ran into the hundreds of millions of dollars. The February 2021 Texas freeze that I mentioned earlier killed over 200 people and caused estimated damages exceeding $100 billion. $100 billion. The power grid failed catastrophically. Water treatment plants froze. Grocery store shelves emptied. It was a complete breakdown of normal services that people depend on. What we are potentially looking at this weekend has similarities to all of these events combined. The geographic scope could be even larger. The combination of ice, heavy snow, and Arctic temperatures creates multiple compound threats. Think about this scenario for a moment. You live in South Carolina. Saturday morning, freezing rain starts. It keeps falling all day, Saturday, all Saturday night, into Sunday morning. By Sunday afternoon, you have an inch of ice coating everything. Power goes out Sunday evening as trees start falling on lines. The temperature Sunday night drops to 15 degrees. Monday morning, it is 12 degrees with a wind chill of 0. The power company says it might be 3 to 5 days before crews can even assess the damage, much less start repairs. You have no heat, no way to cook, no way to keep warm except blankets and layers of clothing. This is real. This is possible. This is what the forecasts are suggesting could happen. For those wondering about the probability of the storm not happening at all, let me be honest with you. At this point, the question is not if a winter storm happens, but rather the exact location and intensity. Every major model, every ensemble system shows a significant winter weather event. The variability is in the details. Will Richmond get 8 inches or 12 inches of snow? Will Columbia see half an inch of ice or 1 inch? Will Dallas get ice or a rain-snow mix? But the idea that this storm completely falls apart or misses the United States entirely, that probability is essentially 0 at this point. The pattern is too locked in. The atmospheric setup is too favorable. Multiple independent forecast systems showing similar solutions. This is happening. What could still change? The exact track will determine who sees what precipitation type. A shift of 50 miles in the storm track could mean the difference between snow and ice for major cities. The timing could speed up or slow down by several hours. The intensity could be slightly more or less than currently forecast. These are the uncertainties that remain. But the certainty is that a major, impactful winter storm is bearing down on the central and eastern United States. And it is coming this weekend. Preparation time is running out. Let me address some common questions and concerns that always come up with winter storms. First, can I still travel if I am really careful? The answer is no. When meteorologists say do not travel, we mean it. Ice-covered roads are not about driver skill. Physics takes over. Your vehicle cannot grip the surface. Four-wheel drive does not help you stop on ice. All-wheel drive does not help you steer on ice. The best winter tires in the world cannot overcome the physics of ice. Do not travel. Second, will schools and businesses close? Most likely yes, but you should not wait for official closures to make your decisions. If you can work from home, plan to work from home. If you have flexibility to miss a day or two of work, use it. Your safety is more important than a perfect attendance record. Third, what if I lose power? This is why we prepare. You should have multiple ways to stay warm, multiple days of food and water, flashlights, batteries, charged devices, a plan for where to go if your home becomes uninhabitable. Do not wait until the power goes out to figure this out. Fourth, should I run my generator inside? No, never. Not in your house, not in your garage, not in an enclosed space. Generators produce carbon monoxide, which is deadly. Keep generators outside at least 20 feet from your home and pointed away from windows and doors. Every year, people die from generator-related carbon monoxide poisoning. Do not become a statistic. Fifth, what about my pipes? If you lose power and heat, your pipes can freeze and burst. Let faucets drip slightly to keep water moving. Open cabinet doors under sinks to allow warm air to reach pipes. If you have to leave your home, drain your water system if possible. Know where your main water shut-off valve is located. Sixth, what if I see downed power lines? Stay away. Assume every downed line is live and dangerous. Call your utility company immediately. Do not approach. Do not try to move debris off the lines. Do not assume the power is off just because lights are out in the area. Electrocution is a very real danger in the aftermath of ice storms. Seventh, when should I call 911? True emergencies only. Every winter storm, emergency services get overwhelmed with non-emergency calls. Call if someone is injured, if you have a medical emergency, if you witness a life-threatening situation. Do not call for power outage updates, road condition reports, or general storm questions. Save the emergency lines for actual emergencies. Eighth, what about my elderly parents or grandparents? Check on them. Make sure they have supplies. Consider bringing them to stay with you if that is possible. Elderly people are particularly vulnerable to cold temperatures and can develop hypothermia even in what seems like moderately cold conditions. They may also have mobility issues that make navigating ice and snow dangerous. The forecast continues to evolve, but the trend has been remarkably consistent. If anything, the models have been trending slightly worse with each run, not better. The ice amounts keep ticking up. The cold air looks even more intense. The snow totals for some areas keep increasing. This is not the trend you want to see. I have been doing this for years, and I can tell you that when you see this kind of model consistency 4 to 5 days out from an event, you take it seriously. Forecasting winter weather is notoriously difficult. Small changes in temperature or track can completely change the outcome. The fact that we are seeing such strong agreement across different models and different ensemble members tells you that the atmospheric pattern is very well defined. For those of you in the path of this storm, the next 48 hours are critical. This is your window to prepare. By Thursday night, Friday morning, conditions will start deteriorating in some areas. By Friday night, travel will become dangerous. By Saturday, the storm will be in full force. Make your plans now. Cancel travel. Stock up on supplies. Prepare your home. Check on vulnerable neighbors and family members. Charge your devices. Fill your gas tank. Get cash. Complete all outdoor preparation before Friday. And then, once the storm hits, stay inside. Stay off the roads. Stay safe. Monitor official sources for updates. Listen to local emergency management. Follow instructions from authorities. This storm has the potential to be a once-in-a-decade event for many areas. It could be the kind of storm that people talk about for years, the kind of storm that becomes a benchmark for future events. The February 2001 ice storm, the January 2014 polar vortex. This could join those ranks as a historic winter weather disaster. But it does not have to be a disaster for you personally if you prepare properly. Knowledge is power. You now know what is coming. You know the timeline. You know the threats. You know what to do. The question is, will you act on that knowledge? I will continue to provide updates as new information becomes available. Watch for my afternoon update with the latest model runs. Join me tonight at 8 p.m. for a live discussion where I will answer your specific questions about your specific locations. We will get through this together by staying informed and staying prepared. The storm is coming. The impacts will be significant. The time to prepare is now. Do not wait. Do not hope it misses you. Do not assume it will not be as bad as forecast. Prepare for the worst. Hope for the best. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other. And I will talk to you again very soon with the latest updates on this developing